Welcome back to the fastest 30 minutes in all of sports. It's your boy G. Bush, right back again, right here with the ultimate Browns. I wanted to get to this, man. I've been wanting to do this for a while. Here's a problem. We've been having a little bit of a problem when it comes to talking about these drafts. And look, don't get it twisted. I like watching football. I've been entrenched in football. I played offense, either offense or defense in my line my whole life. I played Division One. This is the first thing I look at when it comes to tape. I've helped at camps. I've helped at college camps, high school camps. Defensive line play and offensive line play is what I watch preferably. It's what I don't dedicated half of my life to, watching guys in the trenches. And I understand how great it is and how important it is on a really good team and on championship teams to have good offensive linemen, to have good push up front, to have some dominant lines, right? Those are the places I've had an opportunity to even play on some of those lines where it's like, man, it's another level that a lot of people don't understand, that when you can get a line that can get after the quarterback, that you can root people off the football. You can come off the ball and punch people in the mouth and get first downs. You can stop the run. Man, it makes the game much easier. But as I've come around and I've looked around and I've watched the game, studied the game, I understand how important that is. There is another part of the game that we must take in consideration, and that part has been the quarterback play. Quarterback is the most important position. We all know this. I don't want to boil it all down to quarterback because, yes, if you have two good quarterbacks, kind of like you saw in the Super Bowl, you have a great team with Patrick Mahomes. You have a great team with the Philadelphia Eagles, two good quarterbacks. Yes, it matters how great your defensive line is. And Philadelphia showed people what you can do if you can stop another quarterback and have great linemen to rush forward, to stop the run, and get pressure on quarterbacks. They showed you that. There's no debating that. But here's some things I do want to debate. When it comes to not having or building a team, the first thing that you got to have is the quarterback. And I think the Cleveland Browns have been trying to do that for a while. I also think they've been trying to invest in the offensive defensive line for a long time. I'm going to show you in this list. Since 1999, the number of people that they've invested high draft picks and high capital on in the trenches is a lot. I think a lot of times we get caught up in just watching guys now, but we got to take a look at it and show you that the Browns have been consistently taking some of these guys and investing in the trenches without the quarterback, and it hasn't worked. Let me show you. Because that's a lot of people are advocating, give me a dual Carter. And I get it. If I had a quarterback, I'd take a dual Carter. If I had, if I had the quarterback, I'd take Travis Hunter right here. But here's the problem. If you had the quarterback and chances are you're not going to be drafting 3 and something unless that quarterback got hurt for the year. So, no, you don't have the quarterback, right? You have some pieces and parts on the team like Myles Garrett. All right? But let's show you that it's not the same. People have been thinking that the Browns are drafting quarterbacks every single year high. They're not. They haven't. Let's get to you, man. Let's take a look at it. 1999, Tim Couch. So they took him first overall, right? Notice the only 2 players that they've taken in the top 3 when it comes to quarterbacks have been Tim Couch and Baker Mayfield. And those individuals are the only quarterbacks that have taken the Browns to the playoffs. So the draft capital that they spent high at quarterback, Baker Mayfield and Tim Couch, those are the guys who took the Browns to the playoffs. Notice how they take them high. So all this reach back and get back to 7 and 8 and 10 and let me move back and we might be able to get something. It hadn't worked out for us. How's about to those people that say, you know what, G. Bush, let's build through the trenches. Well, let's go in 2000. Number 1 overall, Courtney Brown. Some of y'all don't know him. Some of y'all might not know Courtney Brown. Took him number 1 overall. If you don't know his face, that's because he really didn't do nothing in the league. Didn't really do nothing. Let's go back to it. Let's go. Hey, the next year, Gerard Warren. All right. You know, how many know anybody? Y'all know Gerard? Y'all know this guy? Probably not, because he didn't make nobody's Hall of Fame. He ain't make nobody's all pros. He's not in the Ring of Fame. That's 2 picks in the first 3 years of your existence that you took the number 1 pick, defensive end, number 3 pick, defensive tackle. Shall I keep going? G. Bush, they got it built through the draft. Okay, well, look, 2002, they drafted a running back. Okay, William Green, right? Then they came back the very next year at pick number 21. I had to dig deep to find this dude's picture. Y'all know this guy? That's Jeff Fain. He's a center. They took him in the 20s. Build through the offensive line, G. Bush, in the trenches. So you got Courtney Brown, Gerard Warren, and Jeff Fain all in the trenches. Let's keep it going. Let's go to 2006. First round pick. Let's get to Cameron Wembley, edge rusher. Build in the trenches, G. Bush. There you go. I had to dig deep to find these pictures. You probably won't recognize him. Some people might think that's Jameer Miller. No, that's your number out of Florida State, Cam Wembley. He didn't do nothing either. I'm just going to keep going. Building them trenches, right? Let's continue to go. Now, look, 2009, they took Alex Mack. Alex Mack was a nice pick. He was a Pro Bowler, good lineman. Look, but as you can still see, they're still drafting linemen, right? Took him. You drafted Joe Hayden in 2010. You drafted Phil Taylor. Went back to Phil Taylor. Phil Taylor had a decent career. Injuries cut it short, but I mean, would you take a nose tackle at 20? He's supposed to be a stopper, right? Phil Taylor. I mean, that ain't nothing to write home about. Let's keep it real. You keep going that year, right? Look, you go back to 2013. Let's get to Barkevious Mingo. Anybody remember this guy? He had a nasty number 2. No one wears 51. Nasty work. And he had a crazy nickname, Kiki Mingo. You drafted him out of LSU. And you drafted him and kept it pushing. What year was that? Numbers, you drafted him 6 overall. 6 overall. G. Bush, the Browns are always negating. They're not going in the trenches. Oh, really? They're not? Let me go back to 2015. They got so crazy in the trenches this year. They took this guy. Where he at? Let me find him. Let me put him back in. No. You know, I need the picture. Where are we at? Where are we at? Boy, let me see. Am I missing this? What? Danny Shelton. I had his picture on the front of the cover. Danny Shelton. They drafted a nose tackle out of Washington with the number 12 pick in the draft. Number 12, Danny Shelton. Then they came back with 2 first-round picks. Came back and said, we're going to get the trenches again. Cam Irving at 19. They said he was supposed to play tackle, but he is center. But G. Bush, get you a lineman every year. You'll be good. Lineman is safe and dependable. They don't bust like that. Why we taking all these skill positions? We're running up there trying to grab these skill positions. No, actually, they wasted 2 picks on that on 2015 with a defensive tackle and a center. Never seen such. Then they ain't start to hit nothing until they got Myles Garrett number 1 the next year. They hit on that pick in 2017. Myles Garrett is a Hall of Famer, right? But let's keep it pushing. They hit on that one. But you know, we didn't win nothing. They hit on Joe Thomas way back up in 2007. You notice we didn't win nothing. Came back again in 2020, right? Came back again in 2020. And what did we do? We drafted offensive line again. Good old Jed Wills. Good old Jed Wills is what we came with. So, you know, I just needed to show, maybe y'all, I don't know what age group y'all in, but I'm old enough to remember when we was taking L's. I'm old enough to remember when we are taking some of these linemen every single year and they're panning out to be nothing. But see, the realistic part about it is See, people believe that linemen have some sort of a aura around them where just because you're not really familiar with them and people don't talk about linemen from year to year, they kind of be like, oh, we'll give him a couple of years and see how he pans out. No one calls a lineman a bust immediately unless they're a top 5 tackle and they're just garbage and they can't get on the field. But people do this every year. No one goes up to the front of the to the class and on the podium and says, "Listen, this guy, this pick at left tackle is horrible. Oh, they got their tackle for 10 years." No, they don't. You got these defensive tackles running around here not making no plays, and you're wasting these high draft picks on them. And by the way, I can go back and say there's just not those. What about the Siaki Ika, the Tommy Togiais, the Perion Winfreys? These guys. Right? We just spent another pick on Mike Hall. My thing is, how many picks you want? I actually don't believe this. I think people be selling this. People don't really be believing this. People be trying to say to themselves that they really believe that's the way to go. No, you don't. You don't believe that. You know what you believe? You believe that pick is not, it has a lower bust factor, and at least you can say you can deal with something. They're like, listen, at least I can have something that's tangible as a defensive end that's going to give me 6 sacks. But if we take a quarterback and he busts, we're going to be right back in the same position. And I agree, you are. But please stop acting like these guys are fail safe. And please stop acting like the Cleveland Browns don't do it. I just named you all of these draft picks that are in the top 10 and they've hit on 2. I give him 3. Alex Mack, I like, but Alex Mack, he didn't retire as a Brown. He ended up playing for the Falcons. Alex Mack, I like him. You got Joe Thomas, who's a Hall of Famer, Myles Garrett, who's a Hall of Famer. And through that whole list, how many wins did you get? You haven't even been past the first round of the playoffs with any of those guys.